Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special video today. I say it's special, it's more the reason that you guys have just been supporting this entire series so well, and I decided I'd upload 3 videos today for the reason that we have transfer deadline day. I've done the entire transfer window all today, and how about that from an effort from that far out? But fortunately my keeper was zoned in and able to he was on his toes and he was managing to deal with it. But if only he was on his toes just a little bit more for that Dawson goal, which put Spurs 1-0 up. And take a look at this. This is why I haven't sold Cisse. Look at him shrug off everyone like, bitch, get out my way. And then rockets one into the bottom right across the face of the keeper. And that's his 16th goal across all competitions. And that's the exact reason why I haven't sold him yet. If you guys have been watching previous episodes, you will have noticed that clubs have come and offered around 5 million for him, and I'm just not willing to sell him. He's been my top goal scorer. He's been fantastic for the club, and I just feel as though it doesn't do him justice selling him for 5 million in the middle of a season when I still want him to go on and grab more goals for me during the season, because he is still very much a goal scoring threat. And despite him aging on, as we all know, I just don't think it's right selling him for 5 million after all the things he's done for the club. Anyways, 3-1 they beat us in the cup, in the FA Cup, which was a bit disappointing, but it was away at White Hart Lane. Spurs were the better side, and there's just not much you can do about it. But pretty standard results across the board there. One surprising one though: Manchester City 1-1 to Derby County, which was quite interesting. And yeah, so that came as a bit of a shock to me. But I will say, guys, this is a transfer deadline day special, and I just want to say a huge thanks for everyone that's been supporting the series all the way through, with your helpful comments, with your just general supporting, and your desire to want to watch each episode. I've never met, or like spoken to people who just want to see the next episode so badly. So it is really great that you're enjoying the series, and it makes making the videos a whole lot more fun for you guys, because I know you guys can't wait to see the next episode. So I just want to say a huge thanks for that. But how about this? 3 teams have come and offered money for Adel Taarabt. Now, I can hardly say his name. Taarabt has been a fantastic player for me. 5-star skills, 5-star weak foot. But, he's been a fantastic player, but at the same token, he hasn't, statistically, he just hasn't done the job for me. Assists, he's got a few of those. Goals, he's got a couple of those. But he generally hasn't stood out as a really great player. So I thought, for 15 million, I consider that, I'd be willing to sell him for around 15 million. So, me being me, I didn't go down without negotiating, a bit of bargaining, a bit of haggling, all that stuff, which I recommend you guys to pretty much always do. Obviously, unless he's don't go too ridiculous to the point where they won't sign, unless you guys have seen me previously do that, because I'm only ever going to sell them at this particular price. But, for me, I put him at 15 million, which I thought was quite a lot at the time. But, if they really wanted to wrap, they were going to have to really shell out, because he is quite an important player, and he is still young, only at the age of 23. So with that in mind, I definitely did want to bump up the price. Newcastle came in with a pretty hefty offer of 13.5, which was the biggest out of all of the offers that were given to me, and it was fantastic to see. I was pleased that Taarabt was getting this sort of interest, especially since I was already looking to sign in some new centre attacking mids like Merkel, and here comes the transfer deadline day. Now, before we go any further, I want to clear up a few things. One, for some strange reason, I don't know if it's a glitch in career mode. If anyone could, if you've come across the same thing, please leave a comment down below, because I'd like to go to EA if it is a glitch or something. But what's happened is, as you guys can see there, Muriel was in progress, things were moving along, and for some strange reason, it was almost as if I'd never put in bids for, Fellaini, Merkel, and I believe Muriel as well. I ended up having to, put in another bid, that the club was going to have to accept, because last time I checked, we were on contract terms, negotiating contracts between the players and their agents. Unfortunately, some strange thing happened, whether it didn't save or just something went wrong, I'm not too sure, but it all went a bit haywire, and unfortunately I had to put in another approach to buy Merkel in transfer deadline day, and that kind of made things a little bit tedious because in transfer deadline day you always have to pay just that little bit more. Another thing that I noticed was that I was overpaying dramatically on these wages, and that's something I've learned. You know, I really have to keep an eye on that. I should definitely try and sort that out. You know, I was paying huge money when maybe they only really wanted, you know, a 4-year contract instead of a 3-year one. One of the things I noticed with Fellaini was, you know, they would have happily accepted the offer if Derry wasn't involved in the offer. So things like that, I really have to keep an eye out. And there's a top tip for you guys that I've learned as well, which is simply read the emails thoroughly. You know, if you haven't been doing so, do it, because they do actually give you a lot of hints, and I was quite ignorant in the fact that I just kind of skipped past those, thinking, you know, it's unacceptable. It's got to be down to the simple fact that he wants more money or the club wanted more money, you know. So it was those things. But as you guys can see, Tarat was off on his ways, and again, Fellaini, I decided to put in another bid for him and just see what the deal was. That my remaining transfer budget was 30 million. I think I went into I went into the transfer deadline day with about 40 million to spend, and that's a lot of money to be able to spend on transfer deadline day. As you guys can see, my transfer budget up there was still 40 million, and I was excited to spend a lot of the money. That was my main plan. I didn't want to leave without spending money. So Merkel there, age 20. As you guys can see, I ended up paying 30,000 a week, which probably isn't necessary. You know, his current salary was at 10,000, and I probably only needed to bump that up a little bit. But I went a little bit overboard, getting a bit excited with the whole transfer takeover. And with that in mind, I decided I wanted to give him a bit more than what he was probably worth, you know, per week. But one of the big things that I'd missed out throughout the entire transfer window was what you're looking at right now. Defenders. Why haven't I bought any defenders? And this was literally a last minute thing. I noticed it very late on. There you go, contract offer. So Muriel, now we were back on the contract. I go ahead and offer him 60,000 a week, which is, I'm pretty sure it's far too much. I made him a crucial first team player, and I'm pretty sure all he wanted was a 4-year contract. But there it is. There's the other signing of the season, Merkel. He's got fantastic potential. He has the potential to become a class player. But one of the things I noticed with me on transfer deadline day, I kind of get a little bit nervous. I get worked up. You know, I really want to bring in these players. I don't want to, you know, leave deadline day thinking, damn, I wish I'd bought this person, or I wish I'd bought that person. And as you guys can see, I'm making a desperate attempt to buy in some more defenders. And as you guys can see there it is done. Muriel is now a QPR player, along with Merkel. So far we've signed Ramirez, I was about to say Suarez there, Ramirez, Sterling, Merkel, and Luis Muriel. And those are some fantastic signings. They pretty much, you know, besides Ramirez, who is still actually quite young, he's age 25, are all players with fantastic potential. They can reach the likes of 88, 89 ratings. So I am really excited to see how those players develop. You know, they're definitely bought in the sense that I'm looking to play a few seasons with them. And just see how things go about. But anyways, back on the hunt for some more defenders. It was a last minute ditch. I went for Lovren there. He was an expensive defender, but he is very young. He's already overall at 79, and he looked like a player who could really develop into, you know, an 85 or 86 rated player. So he was definitely on my mind when it came to signing new players. And there you guys go. As you could see, I put in a last minute, well, not a last minute, but a deadline day bid for him, because it was important that I beefed up the back four. That was one of the things I planned on doing. I already have Anton Ferdinand, Mbia, Fabio, Jose Basingua, Onoa. I'm sure there's another one or two in there. But also this legend with a class name. He goes Papadopoulos, I think is how you say his name, and that is a brilliant last name. Fancy going into that. You know, it would be one hell of a name to have to explain to everyone every time. But yeah, so the transfer offer was unacceptable. They set a 15 million price tag for him, and that's the sort of thing you guys have to pay when it's on transfer deadline day. And that's why I was a little bit irritated with EA, in the sense that, you know, I was already going through all these sort of negotiations with other clubs. It was down to contract sort of things, and then suddenly it's almost as if it didn't exist. So maybe it was something I did, but I don't see what it could be just yet. But as you can see, the transfer offer was accepted by Lyon, and I was really chuffed to see that. And unfortunately, PSG put a 14.5 million price tag on Sacco, because Sacco would have been a fantastic player to have in the squad. But this guy, he was already on big money being a player over at Lyon. I was pretty certain that, you know, 70,000, a 3-year deal, and you know, an important first team player would have swayed him over. But you guys will just have to wait and see why exactly it may or may not work. So Graniero, there are a few offers came in for him, some actually pretty impressive offers. But again, I wanted to have a lot of depth in that, and that's why I put a ridiculous counter offer, was for the fact that, you know, I wanted him to stay at the club. I didn't have any sort of desire to sell him, although it may have been it might have been smart, but I did want some players because Graniero is the perfect all-round player for me. I've really noticed that, you know, he does a fantastic job. His stats are just all-round suited very well, so that's why he's in the squad. Another player, you know, it's one of his little hazard thingies was showing great potential. You can take a look at his stats there. They were ridiculously good, and I just had to do it. You know, it's transfer deadline day. I've not got much to lose. He was worth quite a lot though, so I was kind of chancing my ways by even just approaching him. But that's just the way the cookie had crumbled, and it was time to see if I had any chances with signing a player like this. So just as you guys see, like, the closing things that happen throughout transfer deadline day, see if I can pick up a Fellaini at the end of it, yes or no. And finally, Everton accept my offer. I was so happy when I saw that. Seriously, really chuffed with it. 14 million. It was a pricey purchase. But Marwan Fellaini, age 25, overall 81. But you guys will see what sort of player he develops into, and it was really impressive. I was actually so happy when I picked him up because he is a huge guy. You know, he's tall. He's going to be great for aerial battles. He can play that center midfield role where he can attack really well, but he's also really good at defending. One, because of his size, and two, he's actually got decent defending statistics. So I was pretty pleased with that, and unfortunately Lovren just wasn't having any of it when it came to the contract, and I was getting a little bit twitchy, a little bit nervous, because I did want to sign some sort of defender just before the deadline day finished. But you guys will see how it all pans out. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. It's been a really long one, and it is an absolute nightmare for me to commentate a really long video like this. So if you guys could just hit it with a load of support, because usually my late night uploads, you know, the ones I upload later on, don't tend to do as well. So it tends to rely on the support of the people that watch it. So it'd be fantastic if you guys could just show it a bit of love. And that's been transfer deadline day, or the transfer window, all in the space of one day for you guys over the space of 3 videos, and this super long one. So like I said, any sort of support is just much appreciated. And I can't wait to see how the second half of this season goes. I know there'll be a few of you guys out there disappointed I didn't pick up this, that, and the next person. But who knows who I pick up during the next transfer window. It's all down to you guys. And I hope you guys enjoy what's to come of the season. And, you know, feel free to hit me with a revised position where I'll end in this entire transfer window. Where will I end? You know, a lot of people said I'll finish 12th, things like that. Do you still think I'll finish 12th? Let me know in the comments. But £106 million was spent in deadline day, and that is a whole lot of money. I could buy myself a fair few nice things with that sort of money. But thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Merkel signs up to the QPR bandwagon. So just to recap, the players I've bought this transfer window were Fellaini, Muriel, Merkel, Ramirez, and Sterling. Those are the players that I purchased. There's probably one that I probably missed, but for now, that's all I managed to get. No defenders, which is a bit of a letdown, but we'll just have to charge on through the rest of the season with no defenders. I hope you guys have all really enjoyed this episode, and like I said, any support on these videos are much appreciated. And I'm gonna die because doing this commentary has just killed me. Video on your left is a career mode 1. Video on your right is a squad builder. Bye-bye.